Assalam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brother, my dear sister in Islam, today is not just another reminder. It's a direct wake-up call, and I need you to hear me with your heart, because what you're about to realize could be the most important turning point of your life. I'm not here to entertain or distract you. I'm here because something has gone wrong. And if you do it again, wallahi, you're knowingly disobeying Allah. Now listen carefully. You're not watching this by accident. You're not scrolling by coincidence. You were led here because you're not like everyone else. You're chosen. Allah has selected you for something greater. That's why what others can get away with, you can't. That's why your heart feels heavy when you repeat a sin, even if no one sees it. That's why you feel guilt when others don't, because the soul that Allah loves, He corrects. But here's the problem. You've been warned before. You've cried before. You felt broken before. But then, you did it again. That same mistake, that same sleep, that same quiet disobedience you thought Allah would overlook just one more time. And now, you're here again, listening, feeling the weight return. That's not a coincidence. That's a warning from above. And I'm here, inshallah, to help you face it before it's too late. Let me ask you this. What is it that you're hiding? That little thing you brush off, hoping Allah is too merciful to call you to account for? That delay in prayer, that glance, that habit, that scroll, that chat, that promise you made in sujood, then broke the next day? You know exactly what I'm talking about. This isn't a guess. This is a reminder, tailor-made for you. And deep down, you know it too. But here's the mercy. The fact that you're still alive means Allah hasn't given up on you. The fact that your heart still aches means it's still alive. But there's a line, and if you cross it again knowingly, after this reminder, after these signs, then you're not just making a mistake. You're making a decision. And the difference between sinning out of weakness and sinning out of arrogance is the difference between forgiveness and punishment. So let's not take this lightly. The one who is warned and still chooses disobedience is not just sinning. He is resisting the call of his Lord, and no one resists Allah and wins. But don't despair. Don't click away. I didn't come to condemn you. I came to wake you up. Because Allah hasn't sealed your heart. He hasn't closed the door. He's reminding you again. And if He's reminding you, that means He wants to forgive you. He wants you back. So stay with me. Listen until the end. I promise you a powerful dua at the end of this video. A supplication to help your heart find strength again, to help your soul break free from this cycle, and to finally return to your Lord with dignity and love. But before that, we have to go deeper. Are you ready? Then let's begin. You've heard the phrase, chosen by Allah, before, haven't you? But what does it truly mean? It's not about fame, fortune, or followers. It's not about a life free of hardship. In fact, it's the opposite. When Allah chooses someone, He refines them. He disciplines them. He pulls them closer with both mercy and trial. Being chosen doesn't mean your life gets easier. It means your soul is being prepared for something higher. And you, whether you realize it or not, are one of those chosen ones. Let that settle in your heart for a moment. Allah doesn't choose based on your past. He doesn't select people for perfection. He chooses hearts that are sensitive to guidance, spirits that still flinch at the sound of sin, eyes that still water in the dark when no one is watching. You may be broken, flawed, falling short again and again. But if you keep coming back, it's because He's pulling you in. And that's why what others do freely, you can't. Others sin and sleep peacefully. But you sin and your chest tightens. You smile outside but feel empty inside. That's the mark of being chosen. Allah is not letting you get comfortable with disobedience. He's tugging at your soul. You're not at ease with the same things anymore. The taste of sin has turned bitter in your mouth. And even when you sleep, you know deep down, this is not who you are meant to be. But there's a danger here. You see, when you're chosen, there's also responsibility. The mistakes you make carry more weight, because they're not just stumbles, they're warnings. Allah doesn't discipline everyone the same way. Some people go on living carefree lives with no hardship, and that's not always a mercy. That can be a sign that Allah has left them to themselves. But you, the moment you take a wrong turn, you feel it. The road gets heavy. The peace disappears. The blessing fades. That's not punishment. It's protection. Allah is pulling you away from what will destroy you. He's not being hard on you. He's saving you. And if you don't understand that, you'll start to resent the very signs of love He sends you. You'll see hardship as injustice instead of guidance. You'll see guilt as a burden instead of a compass. But when you truly know what it means to be chosen, you'll see every setback as a setup, a divine recalibration to bring you back to your purpose. And if you've been chosen, that means your journey can't look like everyone else's. Your test might be heavier, but so is your reward. Your path might be narrower, but it leads to a higher place. You were never meant to blend in. Allah didn't create you to be average. He didn't bring you this far just for you to return to the same cycle of guilt and regret. Let's be real. You've tried to fix yourself before. You've made promises. Maybe you even fasted, prayed, wept in the middle of the night, and then you fell again. But you're still here, you're still trying, and that's the proof. The proof that Allah hasn't rejected you. He's just not done working on you. So the next time you feel that pang of guilt, that inner whisper saying, "You're better than this," know where it comes from. It comes from your status. Your status as someone Allah is still refining. Someone He is still calling back. Someone He sees as worthy of elevation. Hold on to that. Don't throw it away for a moment of pleasure or a temporary escape. Because when Allah chooses someone, it's not to break them. It's to make them. You've been warned because you matter. You've been pulled back because you're loved. So stop resisting the mercy. Embrace the discomfort of growth. Because once you step into who Allah is shaping you to be, you won't recognize the person you used to be. Are you starting to see it now? You know exactly what you keep returning to. That one act you try to justify, to ignore, to hide, but it keeps coming back. You've tried to quit. You've made promises to yourself, to Allah, maybe even to others. But it's like a cycle, isn't it? You fall, you regret, you repent, and then somehow it pulls you back. It's quiet. It's subtle. And yet it holds you like a chain. This is not about a mistake done in ignorance. No. You know better now. You've been given the knowledge. You've been warned in your heart. And still, you flirt with the line. Still, you go back. Maybe you tell yourself, just one more time. Maybe you whisper, Allah is merciful. And yes, He is. Infinitely. But don't mistake mercy for permission. Don't mistake delay for approval. Allah's silence is not a sign that what you're doing is okay. It's a space given for you to stop before it's too late. The danger isn't just in the act itself. The real danger is in what it's doing to your heart. Every time you sin and silence the guilt, the heart gets harder. Every time you ignore the voice inside, the soul becomes dull. Until one day, that sin that once made you tremble doesn't shake you at all. You scroll without blinking. You talk without shame. you act, and you no longer seek forgiveness. And that, right there, is the scariest place to be, when the sin no longer feels like a sin. You see, the first time you disobeyed Allah, you cried. The second time you sighed. And the 10th time you laughed. That's how Shaitan wins. Not by making you fall once, but by making you comfortable on the ground. He doesn't want you to sin. He wants you to stop caring that you sinned. And if you do it again, now, after being warned, after recognizing it, after seeing its effect on your soul, then it's no longer weakness. It becomes defiance, a choice. A moment where you say with your actions, I hear the command of Allah, but I'm doing what I want. And who among us dares to stand before the Lord of the worlds with that kind of arrogance? But you're not beyond hope. The fact that you feel this right now, this discomfort, as this weight, this clarity, is the sign that your heart is still alive, that Allah is still talking to you, that your soul hasn't been sealed. You haven't gone too far. This is your chance, right here. Before you repeat it again, before you fall one more time, stop, pause, think. The angels are still writing. Your soul is still capable of turning around, but you have to choose it. You have to decide that you won't go back. Not this time. Not after knowing what you know, because the next time, it won't just be a sin. It will be a betrayal. You want to change? Truly, you do. You've said it in your heart 1,000 times. This time, I'm serious. You've promised yourself this will be the last time you fall. The last time you disobey. The last time you betray the part of you that wants Allah more than anything. But no matter how many times you promise, it feels like you're pulled back into the same dark habit, the same regretful routine. You want out, but it keeps pulling. And here's what you need to understand. Change doesn't begin with tears. It begins with strategy. Tawbah isn't just crying in sujood. It's changing direction. It's replacing your triggers. It's identifying the doors Shaitan uses and slamming them shut. Real Tawbah is like spiritual war, not emotional escape. And if you don't fight it consciously, your nafs will win silently. You see, discipline is not the opposite of faith. It's the expression of it. You don't wait for motivation to obey Allah. You move, even when you feel nothing, even when your heart is dry, even when you're tired. That's when your love for Allah is proven. When it's hard, when it costs you, when the whispers are loud and the path is narrow, and you still say, I choose my Lord. Let's be honest. That sin you keep repeating, it's not bigger than Allah's mercy, but it is threatening your connection to Him. And what's worse than committing the sin is normalizing it, laughing at it, saying, at least I'm not as bad as others. You don't need to compare yourself to people. You need to compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Are you rising or sinking slowly? The Prophet taught us the beauty of sincere repentance. That if we walk to Allah, He runs to us. But too often, we run to the sin and then crawl back to Allah. Isn't it time we reversed that? Isn't it time we made haram feel harder to reach and taqwa easier to choose? Here's something you must remember. The longer you delay your return, the harder it becomes. The first step is always the hardest. But once you take it, Allah opens the way. He makes things fall into place. He removes people who harm you, grants you strength you didn't know you had, and replaces that sin with sweetness in your heart. But He's waiting for you to act. You've cried enough. Now it's time to protect your soul with action. To cut off that connection. To delete that app. To break that silence and apologize. To wake up for Fajr, even if you slept at 3 a.m. To fast, even if no one asked. walk away from the thing that's destroying you, even if your entire nafs is begging you to stay. Because one step toward Allah changes everything. There's a line you're standing near, and you may not even realize how dangerously close you are to crossing it. You've been warned, subtly, repeatedly, through guilt, through hardship, through delays, through that silent, gnawing feeling deep in your chest that something just isn't right. But every time the warning comes, you push it aside. You tell yourself, it's not that serious. I'll stop later. I'll fix myself. Eventually. But what if eventually never comes? You see, Allah doesn't punish immediately. That's part of His mercy. He gives space. He gives chances. He sends reminders. He holds back His anger. Not because you deserve it, but because He wants you to wake up. But what happens if the one being warned ignores the warner? What happens if the chosen soul rejects the message? The Quran is filled with stories of nations and individuals who were warned and still turned away. And when the punishment came, it wasn't just the physical destruction. It was the sealing of the heart, the inability to feel, the loss of guidance. That's the true danger. Not a punishment of your body, but a punishment of your soul. Don't wait for a loud consequence to realize Allah is serious. The scariest punishment is quiet. You stop feeling regret. You stop crying. You stop hearing your conscience. You think you're okay. And that's the trap. You're not okay. You're just numb. And a numb soul is a dead soul walking. Let's make something clear. If you've been reminded, and then you sin again knowingly, you're walking straight into disobedience. Not out of weakness, but out of choice. And that changes everything. Because Allah is most merciful, yes. But He is also severe in punishment. We can't pick and choose the names of Allah we like. We accept His mercy, and we fear His justice. The Prophet warned us that a believer sees their sin like a mountain about to collapse on them, while the hypocrite sees it like a fly that lands on their nose and they just brush it off. Ask yourself, which one are you acting like right now? This is the line. Now that you know, now that you've been reminded again, now that Allah gave you this video, this moment, this voice in your heart, if you still return to the same act, you're not just sinning, you're disobeying after knowledge. And the one who disobeys after knowledge, they have no one to blame but themselves. But even now, Allah is holding the door open. Even now, He hasn't sealed your fate. Even now, with all your sleeps and mistakes, you are still invited back. But how many more chances will you waste before the door closes? Don't play with your akhirah. Don't gamble your soul. Turn back now, before your heart turns cold. You've made it to the end. And that's no small thing. It means your heart is still alive, still listening, still responding to the call of Allah. You didn't scroll away, you didn't ignore the signs, you stayed. And that in itself is a miracle, a quiet but powerful proof that you are still among those Allah is calling back. Let this moment be your line in the sand. From here on, make a decision that shakes the heavens, that you won't go back. Not to the habit, not to the delay, not to the version of you that kept making the same mistake, hoping for a different result. The cycle ends now, and the journey back to Allah begins with a single step, this one. You may have failed yesterday. You may fail again tomorrow. But what matters is that today, you choose sincerity. That today, you choose to try. Because the door is still open. And the Lord of that door is still waiting for you not with anger, but with unimaginable love. Allah never gives up on His servant. It is we who give up on ourselves. But if He allowed you to reach this point, to feel this heaviness, to witness this reminder, then know for certain He hasn't turned away from you. So don't turn away from Him. Not again. And not after everything you've heard. And not after everything you now know. There will be moments after this where you'll feel weak again. Shaitan will whisper, your nafs will sleep, the world will try to distract you. But remember this moment. Remember how your heart feels right now. Heavy, soft, open. These are the signs that your soul is responding, that you're not too far, that you're not too broken. Now, as promised, let me raise a prayer for you. From my heart to yours. O Allah, Ya Rabb al-Alameen, you who see what no one else sees and know what no one else knows. I ask you now to forgive this soul who is listening, who stayed, who is trying. Ya Allah, turn their weakness into strength. Turn their sin into light. Replace their guilt with guidance and their confusion with clarity. Ya Allah, remove the burden they've been carrying and fill their heart with the peace that only comes from being close to you. Ya Allah, if they fall again, help them rise again, and again, and again, until they return to you purified and smiling. Let their last day be their best day. Let their grave be a garden from the gardens of Jannah, and let their name be written among the sincere, the repentant, the chosen. Ameen, Ya Rab. Don't let this be just another video. Let it be a new beginning, a silent promise between your heart and your Lord. And if ever you feel like slipping again, come back and listen, not to me, but to the voice in store you that's begging to be saved. That's your fitrah. That's Allah calling. And when He calls, the wise answer,